In this video, I'm going over escapes from side control with George. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different escapes, but the escape that I find myself using the most. George was doing some MMA sparring prior to this. It's much harder to hold somebody down in no-gi. That's why when you go to a tournament or if you compete, you'll notice there's a lot of wrestling. It turns into a lot more wrestling because there's no friction and it's harder to get grips. But that's what I like about no-gi. I feel like it's more pure. Like if you could control somebody, if they're covered in oil, you could definitely control them if they're wearing a high friction potato sack. So as you can see, I'm starting to dogfight out to the back. One of my favorite escapes. It works quite well. Better than I expect. But as soon as he makes any space at all, as you can see, my right arm's already under. So as soon as he lifts his body, I have it, for the most part. See? Right. Because he's going to have to lift his body. Now, he could spend all his energy on just holding me down. And there's something to be said for that. But if you put all your effort into just holding someone down, you can't punch them and you can't submit them. So as soon as you want to rear up to punch, you have to take your weight off them to do the punch. And it's the same with the submissions, for the most part. So there I demonstrated the double underscoop escape. So here, as you could see, naturally I just go to right to keeping his elbow off the floor.
This hand under this one. It's even easier.
I want to correct something there. I didn't want his hand on that side. I wanted it on the other, but in my mind, that's where it was. I got confused. That's where I want his hand, where it is now, not there. Where it is now. See, there's the double underscoop. Again, this isn't going to work as well with the gi. If he just flattens you out and puts pressure, the friction from the gis isn't going to allow that escape. When you could hip bump more, it'll just be a lot more work. Escaping in no-gi is fairly easy. I mean, you could just flounder into an escape. But the problem with that is it's a huge, inefficient use of energy. So you can flounder your way out, but you might be exhausted by the time you escape, which could lead to another re-guard pass. So another main feature of escaping is creating space and getting to your side. That way you could bring your knee in. If you're flat, you're never going to bring your knee in. So if you turn your intentions towards your opponent and push him away,
There you go. Got a little more room. Put more room in there, right?
if you need extra room, you can always do a double shrimp. I notice many times people shrimp once and then they get their guard passed again. Shrimp twice, get both knees in.
I'm still here, let's say. You get this knee in, this knee. Start sitting up. Sit up, sit up, sit up. Right? Start standing up. Right. If possible. Let's do another one. You see, I'm already starting.
Yeah, you already got it.
But you have the tax at the top, right? What do you have now?
See, now all that's required is a quick hip bump or two.
Turn. And once I'm here, I switch my hips. And over your back. Down.
Another example of why the hips are so important.
I start with my arms in this time, but this frame keeps you off from really
Going for
hurting
that,
me.
yeah.
And pressuring me.
Right.
My ribs are pretty safe here.
Right. Well,
That's a frame, so I'm framed under him. He could never really get his chest against my chest.
whenever your hands are someplace you don't want, hip bump, and that's going to make room for you. Maybe you want to hip bump and bring your hands up.
Here I'm explaining, it depends on where your hands are trapped and what escape you're using. But if you're underneath somebody and your hands are at your side and you want to go to an A-frame position where your hands are in front of your chest, you need to hip bump and then bring your hands up during that split second.
You're going to have a big, hard time here. Right. Plus, I got your hip lock on the leg. So it's going to be very difficult. Right. So it's very difficult. Right. It's going to be very difficult. Right. So stop. Yeah. So, before I get there, lock my arm. Get on your side.
Right. Instead of hooking with that right arm, hooking over my body, he should use it to make the A-frame, and then as he's escaping, block my left arm from grabbing his head again. I'm going to do a series like this with the mount. I know it's not a traditional way of teaching, step A, B, C. But I know if I watched a video like this, I would learn faster from this than that, but everybody learns differently. So here he has the A-frame.
Yes, look.
And he's creating space.
I'm already thinking about letting go. Because this goes against my principles, right? If my grip
Again, everything's always a struggle. Nothing's going to come easy. But your body does have a structure, and your muscles do move in a way that's more efficient and stronger in one direction than the other. So there I'm showing how to make space with the A-frame. The A-frame is simply clasping your hands together and making like a diamond position with your elbows, shoulders, and hands. It's a very strong position. And it allows your arms to have the strength of two arms instead of one. If you isolate one of my skinny Bugs Bunny arms, it's going to be a bad day for me. So there again, A-frame, push under the chin, make space, bring your legs back in. See, here I'm explaining when you make the A-frame, you have to also turn sideways. You can't just A-frame straight up. It's going to lead to a lot of problems.
There you go, turn in. Yep, hip out. Hip. You pull away with your upper body. Picture leading all your movements from now on.
One of my first videos was with George, and that was, I think, going on over 2 years ago.
Right? Instead of speed.
Which is hard to imagine.
Hip out, you're still not back.
I'll put the links in the description for our roles. I have a role with him when he was a new white belt, and a recent role where he's a proficient blue belt.
Here, so if my hands are down first, I'm going to hip bump and get them to here.
See, there's an example of hip bumping and bringing my hands up to get to the A-frame, to get to the escape.
Again, it's not that easy. There's always struggles. So I'm going to show you the same thing from that.
There's all the usual suspects in the background.
So it's the same thing.
Blue belt Mike,
So instead of going under your face, I'm going to go into your
Yusuf,
hips to get your hips disconnected from my hips. So
Jimmy.
I'm going to hip bump and turn. Boom.
There's Justin. He's in the background. My last video was filmed during this session, my video with him.
Right?
He's a gorilla, and I mean that in a positive way. So now I'm showing the mount escape isn't that much different than the side control escape.
Right, you're out. You're out.
I would say it works even better. There's a lot of ways out of mount. If the person knows how to defend them, obviously it's a big problem.
You got your frames, you got your table.
But I know I didn't like mount for a long time because I felt like I kept getting rolled over. But thank you for watching, guys. If you found value in my content, you want to help support the channel, there's an X-Marshal link in the description. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe.